At the Track is brought to you by Olin Breweries and the Maritime Harness Racing Track Operators.
Harness racing, 2 of 3 items, the third coming up on next week's show. Also, we have a real treat in store for you. We have both trials from the Gold Cup and Saucer, highlighting old home week activities at Charlottetown Driving Park. You know, over the years, Gold Cup and Saucer has been the highlight of the maritime harness racing season. But there has been a problem in past years. That problem is, what if you have more than 8 good horses to go in this race? Well, the folks at CDP solved that problem a few years ago. They set up Gold Cup trials. Those trials see the 16 top horses getting a chance to get into the big race.
Race 11, top of the stretch. Gold Cup and Saucer Trial 1 has 1 guaranteed chance. 2 Burner's Delight, 3 Heels Lad, 4 Big D, 5 Rev Your Engine, 6 Damage Control, 7 Outside Flight Officer, 1 Trailer 8 Cruise Captain, 8 horses for a purse of $5,000. Gold Cup and Saucer Trial 1. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Burner's Delight, Heels Lad quickly away to take them out of there. Racing down along the rail, he is Cruise Captain third. They drive up into the turn on the outside. Heels Lad going to the top. Racing from 2 is Burner's Delight. Cruise Captain drives up on the outside. They go to the opening quarter. Up on the outside. Damage Control is going to the top. Now racing second is Heels Lad. There goes Cruise Captain on the outside third. Looking at it fourth is Burner's Delight. Big D racing in 5 guaranteed chance. They go to the 3/8 Damage Control on top. Cruise Captain drives up and at him on the outside second. He goes for the lead and gets it as they swing off the top turn. Coming through the stretch first time for the half. 28-4 by the opening quarter. It's Cruise Captain to the top. Damage Control racing second. Heels Lad third. Fourth is Burner's Delight. Big D's 10 up in 5. Rev Your Engine guaranteed chance. And Flight Officer trails. They race into the turn going to the 5/8. It's Cruise Captain on top. Damage Control racing second. 58-3. They race past the half going down the backstretch to the 3/4. It's Cruise Captain on top. Damage Control. Big D is driving up on the outside third. There goes Rev Your Engine. He's full of pace as they race down the backstretch. Going by the 3/4. It's Cruise Captain on top. Big D outside second. Damage Control nowhere to go third. Rev Your Engine. Burner's Delight's coming on. They have an 1/8 of a mile left to go. Cruise Captain. Rev Your Engine is flying on the outside. 1:29-3 by the 3/4. Cruise Captain. Here comes Rev Your Engine. Rev Your Engine. Cruise Captain. Neck and neck. Right down the wire. Rev Your Engine wins Gold Cup and Saucer Trial number 1. Cruise Captain second. Burner's Delight. Damage Control will be 3. And what a horse race we just saw here at the Charlottetown Driving Park. Rev Your Engine will Phil Pinckney aboard, going 3 wide as they come off the final turn for home, catching Cruise Captain just a few feet before the wire. And we have a winning trip of 1:59-2 for Rev Your Engine and Phil Pinckney in Gold Cup and Saucer Trial number 1. The second horse was Cruise Captain, third Burner's Delight, and fourth Damage Control. Those 4 will be in Gold Cup and Saucer 27th edition next Saturday night for $12,500.
While Rev Your Engine was the clear winner in trial number 1, there is talk around the barns here that even the 4-horse Damage Control will be a strong challenger and may still be a horse to contend with. Dan Veal will report on trial number 2 later in the program. At the Charlottetown Driving Park, covering Gold Cup and Saucer trials for At the Track, this is John Morrison.
Well, they've been flying at Charlottetown during Old Home Week, and we have two records, and those are maritime records coming up. Maple Grove Shadow in 1:59. That is an Atlantic Sires Stakes record and a new record for Maple Grove Shadow on a half-mile track. That's the 3-year-old pacing colts. Also a new Atlantic Sires Stakes record for the 3-year-old pacing fillies. That's thanks to Isle of Time, 2 minutes and 4/5. Other winners in the 3-year-old stakes, A and B divisions, Kilkerran Delco in 2:02 and 2, Tarwin Robbie in 2:04, Island Governess in 2:04, Island Jen in 2:06 and 1, and Mormac Effie in 2:08. Over to Fredericton Raceway, Alexer Grad, one of the fastest finishers in the Maritimes, wins in 2:04 and 3. At Champlain Raceway, they had two track records. Phantom Flyer, 2 minutes flat. That's a track record for age pacing mares. And Bayside Kinsman, 2 minutes and 3/5, a track record for age pacing geldings. Quickest mile over the week was Spike It Hot, 1:59 and 3. He's won 3 of his last 5 starts in better than 2 minutes. At Portobello Chip in 2:03 and 3, and just a 5th behind P.H. Liz, 2:03 and 4. Top drivers of the week, first to Fredericton, Mike Downey had a driving double. He did the same thing at Champlain Raceway. Also doubles at Champlain for Dave Carey, Ray Alberio, and Bob O'Brien. At Truro, driving triples for Bernie McCollum and Phil Pinckney. Over to Charlottetown Driving Park, the leading driver so far in Old Home Week is Gary McDonald with 11 wins. He's had a driving triple, also a triple for Earl Smith. Gary also coming up with a pair of driving doubles. Well, you'll recall on an earlier show we delved briefly into the world of blacksmithing. We were chatting with Jason Harper, the blacksmith at Exhibition Park Raceway in St. John. But that was more of a profile on Jason, one of the people who has been around harness racing for many, many years. We decided to go back again and look at the world and the art of blacksmithing, and we had our resident historian and expert, Stan Bergstein, join us. Blacksmithing, a very old trade, and as long as there will be harness horses and running horses as well, there'll always be a need for a blacksmith. But over the years, things have changed in the world of blacksmithing. They've gone from iron shoes to aluminum shoes. The shoes now are pre-made, but is still an art that very few people know and very few master. Here's Stan Bergstein, the first of 2 reports on blacksmithing.
Different types of horses wear different types of shoes, and farrier Jim Lowe has agreed to tell us a little bit about those differences.
Well, this particular shoe is a steel shoe. It's a full swedge.
And by full swedge, you mean this is the indentation?
Yes, the indentation, which fills up with dirt, and of course it acts as a grab to the track, and it goes all around the entire shoe. This primarily is used on horses in the front, and over here we have a half round, half swedge.
And the reason for that is that the swedge is halfway around the shoe, and the other half of the shoe is rounded, as you can see. And that does what, Jim?
Well, it holds the horse a little bit and keeps him a little wider, because this is a shoe that we put on in the back of the horse.
I see.
And
these are aluminum shoes?
These are aluminum shoes. They're much lighter than the steel. And this is, again, a full swedge, which goes around the entire shoe. And this aluminum shoe has a grab in the toe. It has a
little sharp ridge here.
Yes.
Which does what?
Which holds the horse a little bit, and it changes just a little bit their gait in front, just a slight bit, so it corrects some problems that they may have.
Why would some horses wear steel shoes and some aluminum shoes?
Well, the aluminum, of course, is much lighter, and of course the heavier the shoe, the more action a horse may have when he brings his foot up.
He'll lift his foot higher with a heavier shoe?
Yes, he will. And so a person who didn't want that action so much in front might put an aluminum shoe with a grab, which would hold the foot a little down.
So you, in conjunction with a trainer, in effect, are a diagnostician, too. It's up to you to decide.
Both of us together will do that, yes.
Very interesting. And when you put these shoes on horses, do you frequently experiment and change back and forth?
Yes, they do. They change. They may try a pair of shoes for a while and find that it's not the correct shoe, and then we finally find it and put another one on.
They tried plastic shoes some time ago. Did they work?
Well, they work on some horses. I know the Italian horse Delfo used them, and he was very successful when he was here, and I put a pair on him. So it does work with some, and others, they take them off.
The differences and the similarities in shoeing as told to us by farrier Jim Lowe.
Cup and Saucer has not been the richest prize in maritime harness racing, but it has always been one of the most coveted prizes. You look at the pageant and the ceremony, the singing of the Island Hymn, the Gold Cup and Saucer girls, the arrival at the track of the Lieutenant Governor, put it all together, and when the house light dims and the horses are paraded, it's just a sight that nowhere else in maritime racing can be equaled. The trial for Gold Cup and Saucer, that's the trial number 1, went to Rev Your Engine. This was the colt who was the fastest 2-year-old in the history of maritime harness racing. He went back to the United States after that 2-year-old season, did not fare all that well, returned to the Maritimes, and Phil Pinckney appears to have him in top form, and he'll be a tough horse to beat in the Gold Cup and Saucer tomorrow. Trial number 2 to one of the all-time greats in maritime racing. Dan Vio was still at CDP. He sends this report.
Race 11, tonight's final race of the night, Gold Cup and Saucer Trial 2. Purse of $5,000 has 1 Angel Shadow, 2 Rosanen, 3 Stone Riggs El Patron, 4 Duke Bullet, 5 Anjo, 6 Gemini Risk, the outside 7 Good Advice, 1 trailer 8 Bassett Hanover. Here they come. They're up, and the pacing Angel Shadow quickly away to take him out of there. Rajo drives up on the outside. Bassett Hanover down along the rail 3rd. Gemini Risk moving 4th. They get on by the 8th. Anjo on the outside. Angel Shadow racing it along the rail. They're neck and neck going to the opening quarter. It's Angel Shadow on top. Aja racing 2nd. Bassett Hanover tied up 3rd. Gemini Risk looks at it 4th. From 5 is a Rosanen. Stone Riggs El Patron from 6. Duke Bullet. And a Good Advice trails. They race past the opening quarter. On to the 3/8 they go. Angel Shadow pacing with the lead up front. Her racing from 2 is Anjo. Bassett Hanover looks down at from 3. They come off the top turn. Her racing through the stretch for the half. 29 seconds flat by the opening quarter. Angel Shadow, your leader up front. Racing 2nd is Anjo. Bassett Hanover 3rd. There goes Rosanen moving up on the outside in 4. Stone Riggs El Patron swings wide in 5. And it's Gemini Risk, Duke Bullet, Good Advice trails. They race into the turn, going to the 5/8. 59 3 by the half. Angel Shadow on top. Driving up on the outside of Rosanen. 2nd, Anjo at the rail 3rd. Stone Riggs El Patron wide in 4. Angel Shadow turns it on as they race down the backstretch, going by the 3/4. It's Angel Shadow on top. Anjo 2nd. Bassett Hanover looks for racing room 3rd. On the outside of Rosanen. Stone Riggs El Patron. 1:29 4 by the 3/4. They have 1/8 of a mile left to go. Angel Shadow. Here comes Anjo and Bassett Hanover. Angel Shadow. Anjo, Bassett Hanover coming on the outside. Gemini Risk. They're not catching. Angel Shadow in Gold Cup Trial 2. Bassett Hanover, Gemini Risk.
So Angel Shadow, the favorite in Gold Cup and Saucer Trial number 2, led the way from start to finish to win in 1:59 3 on a good track just moments after a heavy shower had blanketed the area. 2nd went to Bassett Hanover, 3rd was Gemini Risk, and 4th went to Anjo. With the win, Angel Shadow, owned by Murray Wade of Moncton, driven by Marcel Berriot, becomes one of the favorites. Saucer final. But Bassett Hanover, owned by Harry Perkins of Perth, Ontario, and driven by Mike McDonald, looks strong, finishing 2nd too. In fact, almost any one of the 8 horses that qualified for the big race could pull off a victory, with driving strategy playing such a big part in a well-matched field. Once again, the 8 horses in the 1986 Gold Cup and Saucer are Rev Your Engine, Cruise Captain, Burner's Delight, Damage Control, Angel Shadow, Bassett Hanover, Gemini Risk, and Anjo. At the Charlottetown Driving Park, I'm Dan Vio for At the Track.
Well, we're back once again with our glossary of harness racing terminology. The first is also eligible. That's a horse officially entered in a race, but not permitted to start unless there is a scratch in that race. And a scratch, that's when a horse is withdrawn from a race after being officially entered and drawn for. The paddock, well, that's the area where horses are kept prior to post time. You've heard the expressions top line and bottom line. Quite simple. Top line is a horse's breeding ancestry on the sire's side, and the bottom line is the horse's breeding ancestry on the dam side. And a groom, that's the person who cares for a horse while the horse is in the stable. More of facts and figures and two legends in harness racing. Joe O'Brien of Prince Edward Island and Earl Avery of New Brunswick are both in the North American Harness Racing Hall of Fame. They are the only Maritimers in the Hall of Fame. The highest price ever paid for a racehorse at public auction came in 1985. That horse, Breeze Brief, for $505,000. The highest price ever paid for a yearling at an auction was Laugh-A-Day for a price of $625,000. And the record payoff for a $2 daily double ticket, $8,505.80. That came in 1968 at Pompano Park, Florida. The first woman ever to win a track driving championship was Bea Farber. That came in 1973 at Northfield in Ohio. And by the way, the fastest mile of all time is Nihilator, 1:49 1/5. That's the fastest pacing mile of all time, and it shows how harness racing has come about. It was back in 1897 the Star Pointer became the first horse to go under 2 minutes, so racing has come a long way as far as speed goes. Just an interesting note, in pari-mutuel wagering, a bridge jumper is a person who wagers a large amount on a sure favorite to show. He hopes to collect a $2.10 payoff for every $2 wagered. Well, a couple of bridge jumpers came up a little short the other day. One of them spent $50,000 on Laughs to show in the cane pace. Laughs finished fourth. I'll be back in a moment's time. Around the maritime tracks. First, at Champlain Raceway in Dieppe, New Brunswick on Tuesday. Atlantic Sire Stakes for 3-year-old trotters, and they're looking for the top trotters on the stakes circuit and also the chance of a stakes record. On Saturday, the Dieppe Classic is the feature. Angel Shadow, he won the Gold Cup and Saucer Trial number 2, is one of the horses who will be at that event, along with Cruise Captain and Duke Bullet. That field will be finalized by the first of the week. There was no action at Champlain Raceway during Old Home Week. They did not race on Tuesday, and there is no racing tomorrow night. At Fredericton, no racing on Monday. They come back on Thursday. The feature then, the Williamson Stake for 2-year-old pacers. That's on Thursday, the Williamson Stake at Fredericton Raceway. Over to Truro, they race as usual on Sunday. They come back on Tuesday. The feature Tuesday, the Stanfield Memorial Stake for 3-year-old pacing fillies. There is no racing on Thursday because of the provincial exhibition at Truro Raceway. Charlottetown Driving Park still going strong. They wrap up Old Home Week tomorrow. In the afternoon, there will be an invitational as the feature, and on the night program, of course, going for $12,500 is the Gold Cup and Saucer race. They take Monday off, and then they pick up the action again on next Thursday. So tomorrow at the CDP, and then back again next Thursday. Well, Stan Bergstein was with us earlier. He explained a little bit about blacksmithing. That is the first of a 3-part series. He's back now with part number 2. In this one, he delves into the world of standard breds and the shoes. This time, he will show how a shoe is made. Here's Stan Bergstein with his second feature on today's show, and Stan, cleverly disguised as a blacksmith, and all about how horseshoes are made.
For want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For want of a shoe, the foot was lost. For want of the foot, the horse was lost. That is not just myth or legend. That is racing fact. And farrier Jim Lowe is going to show us how shoes are prepared for modern harness racehorses.
I'm preparing to punch a pair of half swedges. Punching 3 nails on each side. On the half-round side, we're using three different types of tools to drive the holes in. Now we'll draw a clip in the toe of this rear shoe. This gives a little strength to the shoe in case the horse loosens it, and it sets it more firmly on the foot. We have to do this with some horses that have a tendency to kick the walls.
A heated discussion on harness horseshoes.
Well, that's it for another edition of At the Track, and we are back next week at our regular time of Saturday afternoon at 4:30. And after seeing those great Gold Cup and Saucer trials, we urge you to get over to Charlottetown Driving Park for $12,000 tomorrow night, the Gold Cup and Saucer. Rev your engine, Burner's Delight, Angel's Shadow.